SCPH replay, and apparently this session just won't stop going. And we are, there's like, what, bonus game number 3 by this point, or bonus game number 2. It depends on how you think. When did I call it quits? But StarCraft won't quit, even though we are also running out of replays. I'm saving like a pair of them for our next session. When will the next session be? That's gonna be a good question, because you guys can always send your replays in by using the command exclamation point StarCraft, or if you see it on the Facebook, send them over at gamesarepool@gmail.com. Tell me what it's all about, and especially if you're not from the Philippines, tell me if you're from abroad, so I can check it out accordingly and label it as such. Anyway, though, these are still the SCPH replays, in one way or the other. I guess I'm part of the Philippine community. And yo, dude, look at that, 1 minute in, no intro on the players as of yet. First things first, even though it took a while, here on the top left of Ephemeron LE, we have TLCM on that red Terran. And his opponents, on the bottom right, is gonna be the blue Terran, DLSMIZEL. So Mizzle yet again, we'll see what he's gonna be going for into this one, playing the standard as per usual. And Mizzle really requests that we check out his macro more and more. The previous game we checked him out, his macro on point, but he just lacks this aggression. There is no fire within him. He doesn't know when to go for the attack. He was playing it so safe. And I fell asleep just waiting for something to happen. Honestly, he won such a decisive fight and he still hanged back, but went for the 200, went for 7 bases. Come on, guys. 5 bases. That's natural. That's normal. 7 bases when your main base is still mining. No, right? I think that's too much. I think that's too much. But anyway, Mizzle will be playing cheeky this time. Seems like this is the aggression we're looking for. Ooh, past Mizzle, getting a little bit of a glimpse of the future. Puts the refinery and doesn't finish this. I like this here from Mizzle. He spends enough time to make sure that it is alive, that it will stay on, but can cancel it at any time. At the same time though, oh, TLCM playing it cheeky, sets up the supply depot already. Reaper gonna be shooting from below. And that is gonna be bang bang, pull my devil trigger there. The Reaper gonna get that takedown. In the meantime, Mizzle will be looking to set up his own wall. Reactor tech, of course, to double pump those Hellions later on. And go for double pump Marines if he decides to go for the bunker defensive. But he is gonna go for that earlier one gas to get that Reaper into the second one by the factory time. So it really is just gonna be some Hellions to start things off here and now for our blue Terran. In the meantime though, factory gonna be set up, and here comes TLCM. Gonna be trying to bust down just basically all the scrap metal. It looks like it really was just a pollution site that just wasn't cleaned up. It looks very unfortunate, honestly. Refinery unbuilt. Is this gonna be the future of our Earth? We love the Earth, we love our planets, and that was a very trippy song. Interesting enough though, TLCM has not scouted with this Reaper. Usually, this is a very early game oriented unit, and with proper micro, it can stay alive and disrupt the mineral line. It has no real intrinsic value in a straight up matchup. Honestly, if you're building mass Reapers, you really shouldn't. You can use that mass Marines instead, a lot better with Medivacs, with the gas you save. And overall, you know, like the Reaper is really just such a niche unit right now that you use at the start and you completely forget that it exists later on. Anyway though, here we go in terms of production. Tech lab onto the barracks, so this might be just a little more onto the Marine front. This will allow, of course, Mizzle to go for some really significant drops if he does get stim pack and or combat shield with a medevac or 2. But a Viking right now in production, make sure that he has that anti-air capability. It does provide a little bit of utility as well on the ground. In the meantime, here comes Mizzle now, looking for the burn on in TLCM, taking a nap, and that splash damage completely on point. Mizzle getting the proper burn on up. Sure, he loses one Hellion already. Here we go with the pull. Second one should go down, but that is already good economic damage and army damage so far. There you go with the splash damage hit again. Mizzle just melting all of that metal, all of those corpses, gonna be as clean as ash. And this natural base has been shut down by Mizzle. Well done here, catching TLCM by surprise. You can really see though his opponents not really on point on that micro. Marines just ignoring these flamethrowers, and they will get cooked to a crisp. And here we go with the Viking, even cleaning up the medevac. Overall, solid start here from MiZEL. Widowmine though, gonna get the hit onto the Viking, forcing it to back on that. But this does put his opponent on a one-base scenario, and TLCM has queued up a lot of supply depots when he doesn't have anyone needing the food for it. But yeah, Hellion should get out alive if he decides to back all the way. Yeah, 4 HP, 7 kills to live to tell the tale. And this is MiZEL now in a heavy advantage by this point. He cooked up that natural base like candy. His mules are working overtime. His army was pretty significant to get some good damage on. And TLCM is forced to basically build into a more army-oriented supply by this point in time. In the meantime, even better transition here from MiZEL. He moves over to the battlecruiser, can send them over to that main base at any point in time. And thanks to the damage that he's been done, he can actually just go for the coup de grace by this point. The killing blow onto this middle line, just naturally warp on in, can get the cook on down. And then we'll see what MiZEL is going to be up to. Does he know any of the new updates here for TLCM? Liberation Zone in Defender. Here for a little Liberator. Siege Tank. Siege up as well. With a mind to Marines. And this is going to be flashbacks of Vietnam. But here comes MiZEL. On the natural base we go. Interesting choice. Doesn't want to go to the main. Is a little afraid perhaps of any missile turrets. Doesn't go for the scan or anything. But right now, there's more and more free hits courtesy of that battlecruiser. The Marines trying to give chase. They will just fall into puddles of plasma. And at the same time, Hellion now gonna get blown up. MiZEL has to respect that front line because TLCM just has so many explosive. It's gonna be a whirl of a time, and it's gonna be a blast from the past to make sure that your future isn't gonna happen. I know it seems like MiZEL is really suffering on his own cautiousness. He is gonna retreat with that battlecruiser, and honestly, if you just send it into the natural, it could have been game, set, and match. Same scenario. This time, you can attest to a lack of scouting. In the previous game we saw of him, he used a lot of energy for scans. Too much energy for, in honesty. But if he only saw that there is no real protection here for TLCM, flies him in, and that could be it. That could be the show. By that point, so many SCVs will go down. Might force the GG by that point. Still, MiZEL in the lead. It really is just a lesson of aggression. You can be wrong, can be right, but sometimes you just want to take those risks in the first place. And we do have not only the beauty of hindsight, but the beauty of having all of the vision in the first place. Like, you can understand when the player decides to not do something just to play safe. But when you're looking to criticize the whole playing safe aspect, that's when you gotta notice these scenarios. But the thing about now MiZEL, he is going to go for the Great Wall of Supply Depots. The thing about this, it's a very effective way to wall in, but at the same time, if you are very even in your supply, it's a little dangerous because you can get supply blocked as soon as your front line falls down. So no reinforcements by that point. The SCVs will be forced. You'll have to use that extra micro to build more supply depots in behind. But it seems like MiZEL is going to look to just secure more and more bases for himself. 3 base already, setting up for a potential fort. Seems like it really is the identity of this blue Terran by this point in time. TLCM though coming closer and closer, has everything in the defensive mode, set on up in the front line. And it really is just a bait and switch here from MiZEL. He goes for the rotation, knows that that front line is not somewhere he wants to go. Command Center though coming here and now. And the Hellion's in the way, preventing any kind of a drop on down, any kind of landing sequence. But battlecruisers looking to be in the front line. Vikings still maneuvering into the quads. Yamato Cannon shuts down one, make that two. And here we go with a lock on yet again, but Cyclone unable to get much done. Siege Snacks getting some damage yet again. Hellions though running on in, cannot to keep up with the pressure, cannot keep up with the damage. And MiZEL decided to send things over to the main base instead. This time, he does have the tactical jump, so I can feel like he really doesn't have to get out of dodge anytime soon. Okay. Could have stayed a little longer with the battlecruiser. Again, could have stayed longer. Could have, like, this is the only one he needed to tactical jump away, but a pretty safe way to get damage done and get rid of a few workers along the way. Saw all the supply depots, so TLCM and his blockchain gonna be basically exposed by this point. In the meantime though, Macro's still on point here for our blue Terran, and he is going for +1 on that plating, +1 on the vehicles as well, +2 rather, actually looking to invest into some mech. He already has 4 factories, 2 armories, and a good steady supply of resources to keep at it. Anyway though, TLCM, what is this guy up to? He's been on full defensive mode. It's basically one of those Yu-Gi-Oh cards where you have 0 attack but 3000 defense. And that's what TLCM is thinking what he is. What's that card? Labyrinth Wall, Millennium Shield, you know, those things. Those things. But here for MIZEL, on to another base we go, and is this really gonna be another base by this point? Okay, again, 1, great. 1 standard. 2, standard. 3, standard, great. 4, great. 5, still good. Still good. Still good. I'll say 5 is still good. 6 might be okay, and 7's like, holy crap, man. Holy crap. There's a little bit of a counting game there, but yeah, mules just keeping all of getting as many minerals as possible. These things are very, very delicate, honestly. Look at that, they just fall apart. But basically, if your mules don't kill themselves, if they die to something else, you're losing out a lot of minerals from the capabilities of these mules in the first place. Live fast, die young, and if you die even younger than that, then you're not going to be able to live the fast lane whatsoever. But it seems like it's TLCM's time to go on to the attack. And this is what we're talking about DLSMIZEL. If he plays too passively, these things can happen. Now he is a little bit at risk. He's still in the lead. He has a bigger army, he has the better macro, and he has these Yamato cannons waiting at the wings. But in the meantime, we'll see if TLCM can actually go for the fights. Step back on in. Siege tanks not sieging as of yet. That's a good moment here and now for the TLCM rather. TLCM trying to get as much damage as possible onto the siege tanks. Thor is gonna go on down. Siege tanks of the red hand side backing on out. And it really just is DLSMIZEL having just a better composition by that points. The Terran Marines deciding to run on in, getting the gap closed onto the siege tanks, looking for the kill, sure. But the blue flame of the Hellions just making that a obstacle run that they don't want to deal with. And by this point in time, MIZEL just looking for the win by this point. Here comes the battle cruisers, here comes the Thors. Thors are here. He didn't really even need to find a unit to basically force this out. You can decide to not go to Thor, but yeah, GG is called. MIZEL will take the win. And as I was about to say, you can decide not to go to the Thor if your opponent doesn't really have any units that need a response to it. Like the Thor is the end all, but it is very expensive compared to everything else in the factory. At the same time, it is pretty freaking slow. So if they get caught and you invest in them early, then you are in for a world of hurt. That's why you see people stay on Hellion, Cyclone, Siege Tank, because of the fact that they are more mobile. They pack a punch in so many different ways. Hellion Cyclone, honestly, one of my favorite compositions that have seen its heyday. In this patch, you just run around as much as possible. Cyclones with the missiles, Hellions with the flamethrower. It really is just the best of both worlds. It can handle anything. But overall, MIZEL having the proper macro yet again, having the proper kinds of composition. And even though his fight wasn't the cleanest, the siege tanks could have sieged a lot earlier and he could have made the staging ground there. He took a very well-deserved win. From the very start, just burning up that natural, that was pretty much him having the game in the bag, but letting his opponent macro up like that really, tore a small hole into it. Still, it kept the win in the bag, but, you know, danger as you go higher and higher the ladder is something you cannot prevent. You have to go for it sometimes, and you really want to climb, man. You really want to climb, you gotta take those risks, you gotta make sure that you know when to fight.